Welcome back to the English broadcast of the LPL. We are in Week 9, Day 6, our final day of Week 9 before heading into Week 10 tomorrow, in fact. And that'll be our last week of play heading into playoffs. And still, everything's still to play for these teams, including this match we find ourselves in right now, Rusty, because FPX, the 2-0 here, they keep their playoff dreams alive.
They certainly do. Both teams fighting for very big playoff implications. Of course, Snake now second in the standings, fighting for first still against EDG. They want to come back. They want to win. They're in their home stadium, and now they are 0-1 down against FunPlus Phoenix, and that does leave you with a lot of questions for Snake as to how they're going to get it back coming into the next game. But it is all about FPX right now. The fact that they were able to get that victory, that they looked pretty good once it came to team fighting. They're able to do a lot of it even without LWX, and then when he joins the fray, he can be aggressive because they're already doing work. And I attribute so much of this to Cool personally, that it doesn't look like we're waiting for this moment where all of FPX just implode. And the reason that they always implode is because LWX flashes forwards or jumps forwards on the Tristana. But the difference now is that someone else is carrying, so when he jumps forwards, you're not even seeing it anymore.
Exactly, and you've got to look towards Snake. You've got to look towards Snake as well, and just see if that was a blip on the radar for them. Because, like, yes, they've lost a couple games here and there, but generally it's been against some of the top teams, especially in the East. I mean, it went 0-3, but so did everybody. And Snake right now, I feel like they will be able to come back. Like, I sense at least a Game 3 on the horizon.
They are a resilient team. They definitely will be able to bounce back. They've been bouncing back for about a year now, so it's nice to see the results at least there for them. But in this set, knowing what's on the line, there should be absolutely no reason that there's any mental problems in the team. The fortitude should be there. And you would expect that coming into the second game, or what I should say I expect coming into the second game, is not a Karma. And I don't think that the Karma pick was explicitly bad. I just think that if they're going to play around mid lane jungle as a 2v2, that if they're going to gank mid lane to do this, then you actually give him a carry champion, opposed to one that is more supportive. And you know what? Kill Cool in the mid lane, that's great. It didn't put Cool behind. And what it didn't do either is put a Karma ahead. It unlocked the Karma to roam, and the roams weren't all that great. What you want to see from Gorgor is something like the Azir that was banned away in the first game, where he can hard carry, where he can scale, and he can have big team fight impact.
That's really it, because we look towards the final pick as well from Snake, and we were thinking, is this going to be a counter pick? Because he sees the whole draft ahead of him. He could go carry right here, but instead chose to support the bottom lane, look towards light, and say, everything's on your shoulders, rookie, to get this happening. And, well, I didn't. So maybe we'll actually see if the 2v2 duo in the mid lane can maybe put some more damage down onto FPX. Plus, I will also say that they also gave away the Jarvan, and while that wasn't a direct reason why they lost the game, I mean, Pepper is always going to feel way more comfortable on his main. Yeah,
and I'm going to give some extra context as well. I don't think the reason that Snake lost was the mid lane by any means. I actually think that the problem was in the bottom lane 2v2. I actually believe that Snake didn't really know how to play the game out once their 2v2 had lost in just laning trades. It felt disconnected, like they had to put either extra into protecting them, or they didn't know how to use them accordingly. Where on the side of FPX, you get LWX ahead, he's just going to pop off. He's going to be everywhere and make some big plays while he can. For me, that's where the difference really is. And the reason that I suggest not a Karma is so that Gorgor can carry if the bottom lane loses. So they've actually got a second option for themselves, a la what FPX did in that first game.
Give themselves a backup plan. And this is also Snake we're talking about. They can also play through top side. FLICKR has shown himself to be an exceptional carry in the top lane, typically going towards the Vladimir, the gangplank as well for himself. But in that last game, he was more about just trying to neutralize Gimgoon more than anything else. And you know, mid lane wasn't able to do anything, and it's like, well, Light, if you've lost the laning phase, I guess we just die.
That's what happens with any Karma type of composition. FLICKR did try his best at the end as well. We saw a sick 1v1 between him and Gimgoon where neither of them died because they both just outplayed each other and dodged all the crowd control. I'm going to back away, but with the second game, I do think the top lane is always a place to keep your eye, and you're right, that's a place that we need to watch. Gimgoon against FLICKR, the champion pools and the propensity to carries is always another avenue.
Okay, here's my expert analysis, Rusty. I sense that there's going to be a Swain ban in Game 2 on first rotation.
Do you reckon?
I reckon.
Well, I don't know if FPX would ban it.
I mean, not yet.
Because they're on the blue side.
True. Rise, Varus, Sejuani, and then Snake.
Cross your fingers and toes, Pulse.
I'm crossing everything, Rusty. Everything I possibly can. There it is! Play-by-play analysis, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be alongside Camille and Sion for Snake right here, and it forces FPX to look towards something else for their first pick.
It's interesting they do choose the Xayah. Of course, we have seen a bunch of priority just on that 2v2, the Xayah Rakan. Snake on the opposite side. If they want to get the Olaf again, I would not be against it. Jarvan's still there, however, so we'll have to see where their priorities lie. So ultimately, it's the Tahm Kench already locked in. They may just go for the 2v2.
You might indeed, or also look for a hyper carry down in the old bottom lane here for Light. See if we can get later on into the game. He will just pick up the Caitlyn here into this Zion. Most likely we're probably going to see a Rakan to follow.
Yeah, you should see the Rakan. Caitlyn Tahm Kench is the answer, though. I like this, actually. More often than not, you're seeing aggressive duos responding to the Xayah Rakan, something that will go forwards, counteract the play. Flash Alistars, Tristanas as combos. Caitlyn Alistar is usually the combo that you see. But now we get to see a Tahm Kench from Hoodia, and he is a very good Tahm Kench. It's something that commands respect when he's able to move around on the Rift. And he's going to be able to also protect Light, the young player that does seem to be prone to mistakes here and there in lane.
We've seen a lot of these matchups go horrifically wrong, even for some of the best lanes in the league, and we've seen iBoy and Mako on the Xayah and the Rakan just completely demolish some bottom lanes at level 1, at level 2. And FPX, man, a Zac pick coming out for Pepper. He hovered over the Jarvan, but he won't go for a star pick right here.
Yeah, they needed some extra time to think about it, I suppose, as well, because he hovered it, and then they picked the Rakan. Took an extra 30 seconds before they even made the decision. It's interesting that they did choose to go towards this, and it makes me feel like the Zac is good into the Tahm Kench and the Caitlyn, and perhaps that is why. Because even if Tahm Kench saves someone, you can kidnap them both back together inside the gullet.
Give some backline pressure as well, alongside the Rakan, so he's not just jumping in on his lonesome. And Snake will also lock in the Talia for mid lane here for Grogro.
Does also set up a potential Galio in the middle lane for FPX if you want to look at the sick combos that they can pick for themselves too. No Galio banned just yet. However, Snake, they've locked in their mid laner and they're trying to ban away some mids from Cool.
There's a possibility for Galio to follow here. They have banned away the Cassiopeia, however. So avoiding that matchup. FPX back over to them. They are looking towards the jungle and top lane, though Vladimir will be banned out once again against Flandre. Do not want him to get his grubby mitts on that one. And Snake looking towards their final ban. And I would be surprised if it's a Galio right here, or because they can't take it away themselves, or Nazir, yeah.
Nazir is also a very good ban. You look at the champions that Cool has played: Azir, Talia, Cassiopeia, Ryze. The only 4 that he's played. There's only 1 left in that list that could be banned away.
No, it will be Zoe, actually. In ban out against Cool. So he's actually got the pick of the litter now, really. Just depends on what the Snake wants to take away in their first pick right here, but it definitely won't be a mid laner since Talia has already been locked in. And FPX will round out their bans with a ban against SOFM. They'll take away the Skarner.
Interesting. Yeah, the Skarner being removed from SOFM. He's still got options. He still has the likes of the Olaf to be seen if he wants to go that direction.
Yeah, what a world that we've had. A Zac priority pickup on FPX. Sejuani's been banned.
Yeah.
Skarner's been banned. Even Camille has been banned. And Olaf is still alive.
Part of me kind of wanted to see the Morgana locked in. I mused about it a couple of days ago, but we have seen top lane Morganas in our league.
Yes.
None of them were good,
no.
But we did
exist.
see it. It existed, and it won a couple of games here and there. Not to be seen though, it's the Gangplank. Flandre has taken up the champion this time around, Gimgoon to respond. And this is a traditional counter that we're seeing recently into that pick.
It is, and we know that Gimgoon will play it. We've seen it plenty of times, and they'll lock it in. There's the Fiora. That win rate has been rising rapidly over the last couple of weeks. I remember when it was down to 17% and it was absolutely abysmal. Everyone was just losing on this Fiora, but now it seems like people are starting to get it to better, and that's going to be a statement pick right there. LeBlanc locked in for Cool.
Interesting choice that he's gone towards the LeBlanc. He's into Talia, so workaround's always... No, not the workaround. The Pebbles are always going to be a nuisance for the matchup. But he's got the assassination, he's got legitimate kill threat in the lane. And when you look at the 2v2, you don't know what the jungler is yet, but you know that a Zac LeBlanc will kill Talia. So it's about how do they answer that? How do they respond? This is one of the ways. Now you could add some 2v2 pressure and some skirmish pressure.
There's the Lee Sin. Well, we just hustled up in here. There's no Olaf. He picks the Lee Sin over Olaf. And Zac was picked up over Jarvan. What is going on in the jungle right now?
Not Olaf. It's the only real answer that you're able to see right now. We've even got the LeBlancs in the mid lane, the Assassin. Such a weird composition overall from the side of FPX. Look at the 5v5. The Xayah Rakan, pretty good 2v2. Zac rounds it out nicely with the tanks. Then you've got the split pushing Fiora and the Assassin of the LeBlanc. As far as team fighting goes, it does not sound ideal. You are looking more towards a 1-3-1 type of composition. Even the possibilities of a 3-2 assignment. Zac, Xayah Rakan, very hard to actually kill. On the opposite side, it's a Caitlyn comp, so naturally they want to siege, they want to threaten structures, and a Talia enables that very well. I think Snake are a little bit more standard with what they're playing in this second game, and how they execute it is the only question.
It's also interesting because we're not seeing it come down to a big 5v5 brawl as the coaches will shake hands for possibly the last time in this set of FPX find themselves a second win and a 2-0, giving them the also 2-0 head-to-head over Snake through the entire spring split, which would be an impressive feat considering Snake, by the way, are at the top of the Western standings.
Certainly will. FPX are a young upstart team. They came in, they looked very shaky at the start of the split, and they did go on a bit of a tirade through the cross-conference. They've come back and they're still showing strengths. They've got Cool in the roster now, and they've continued to grow and develop. Now they've taken a game off Snake. It's their third win against Snake this split. They get the next game. They've beaten them in 2 consecutive sets where they face one another. Gimgoon's got a lot of the onus on him this time around. He's got a lot of the carry pants necessary. He can do it on that Fiora. He can make it happen in the Kleptomancy battle in the top lane.
Yeah, still faith from Snake into Light. He's going to be the late game insurance here on this Caitlyn. We'll see if he can actually shine from his namesake. But we're about to hit the rift one more time. And we'll see if FPX can indeed make it the 2-0 sweep over Snake in their own home.
At it again. Always that one person has to yell out and it starts a battle. Legitimately, the fans go to war here in the LPL. Every single time the game starts, it's not just a chant for your team, it's a chant louder than the other team.
You've got to win.
You should see when EDG plays against WE, it is a legitimate brawl down there.
They actually just don't stop for the first 5 minutes, but here we go. We've got some of the keystones coming out here. Pretty standard across the board. Hoodie are going to go for the Unsealed Spellbook over Glacial Augment right here.
Yeah, double Kleptomancy top lane, like I mentioned as well. Fiora procs it very easily against Gangplank. Gangplank does the exact same thing. If it walks up to within Q range, you'll find that a Fiora is dashing at your face. And we're currently at the enemy blue buff. We've brought a Talia, we've brought a Gangplank and Elise in here. FPX very much aware that this should be happening as Gimgoon saw him just before. We have to watch how Pepper responds.
Not at the end of the day, this is SOFM who's just picked up Lee Sin as well, maybe trying to put some style down onto Pepper, or style of me. As he picks up this blue buff and Pepper moves towards his red buff right now, and I'm not sure if this has necessarily been read out by FPX just yet. The fact that Flandre was late to lane probably indicating that he went somewhere, but maybe assuming that he started topside on red.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, they know where the Lee Sin started, and the Zac now has to do a solo clear with no leash from his respective bottom lane 2v2. It's an Infernal for the first dragon of the game as well. You have the pleasure of seeing that one. Doesn't mean there's going to be some high octane action, presumably earlier into this game, around that area. But the Zac, he's gone for an awkward clear. SOFM's cleared his whole half of the jungle. Look at the movements from Guogor here on the Talia. Look at the fact that Hoodier and Light on the Caitlyn and Tahm Kench are pushed in. Where is Zac to go now, is the question. There's no jungle left for him to take.
Q connects, but SOFM just saying hello. Does not want to jump in on that one, and Cool was very excited to dash back to his turret. But now that Lee Sin will go through mid lane, probably to his jungle, and because it's all been wuzzed up right here, he's going to get 3 quadrants, while Zac can't really do anything.
Zac's about to go to his own jungle, find that it is completely gone. It wasn't just a blue take. It was actually Wolves and Gromp gone as well, and Pepper's now going towards the Scuttle Crab, perhaps the enemy red side jungle. I feel like this is actually good communication from FPX, knowing where he can go for jungle camps, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that he can take them. SLFM's already here. He's been read like a book.
I mean, that's the scary thing, right? Because top lane is not necessarily pushing right now. Flandre actually looks like he actually has a small push himself. Mid lane, the same story. So Pepper will look at SOFM. He knows where he is. We'll take the crab, but that's pretty much it. Guogor looking for kill pressure in the mid lane, though. Ares hits and Cool wants to flash away. Here come the Pebbles. Grinds him into the tower. The 1v1 outplay.
Guogor just gets the kill in the middle lane in the 1v1. Snake, they get the Talia. It's no longer the Karma, and it doesn't even need SOFM anymore. He's able to do it by himself. He's able to get that pick off. Cool dying. It's a Dark Seal start. It's a very greedy itemization start from Cool, and he is made to pay for it.
Absolutely is, and Pepper came in there seeing if he can make anything happen onto Guogor, but he is already out of there. He's burnt both of the summoners, 2 Cools, both summoners, and he just teleports back into lane as well, but not what we really expected to see here in the mid lane, Rusty.
Not at all. You would expect the shove here. It's got to be predicted. Yeah, gets him through all the pebbles there with the predict. Well done from Guogor. saves it to the last possible second, predicts the juke direction as well. Not just a 50-50 when you're in the head of your opponent. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Impressive stuff from Guoguo. Getting the better of Cool right there on this LeBlanc. He's going to place down a aggressive ward into the jungle and just try and give Pepper some information right now, because Pepper is having a very hard time even just finding camps on the Rift at the moment.
There's a chance that SOFM's about to find himself 2 odd levels ahead at the moment with the fact that he's got all the jungle free for himself to take. Pepper is on struggle street. And past that point, you're looking towards the level 6 mark when SOFM can tick that first. The impact that he can have on the Rift will be unrivaled.
SOFM right here has 32 farm to the 21 of Pepper. Level 5 versus level 4. We'll be getting to that level 6 much faster than him and getting onto the map, utilizing that playmaking potential that Lee Sin has. And we're also seeing first backs across the board. Not the bottom lane, but in the top lane. The Vampiric Scepter coming out from Gimgoon as Cool is trying to return some damage on mid lane. He jumps back, but SOFM is here to potentially punish. You're absolutely right, Cool. Can he get out? No, he cannot! SOFM styles on Cool.
Just a quick punish once again from Snake. Guoguo's taking the 1v1 trades, and Cool is stepping up to fight him, knowing full well that it's risky. He wants to take the health trade, perhaps just chunk him out, maybe control mid lane as a result, unlock himself even. Not just for the assassination onto a no-summoner spell Talia, but to help Pepper, who is absolutely struggling. It just feels like Cool is taking these risky plays now to try and compensate for the lack of a jungle, because Pepper has nothing. It's level 6 to 4.
I mean, let's be honest, Rusty. SOFM is dismantling this game by himself. He gets a gank into the mid lane. That means he's opened up his own path into the enemy jungle to take camps away again. Pepper's going to be down in the dumpster. Cool is already 0 for 2. And Gimgoon and Flandria are on top lane island right now, having their own battle. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, double knockup comes out, but Hudia finds the save onto Light, who returns some damage.
Now, everywhere else on the map besides mid in the jungle is doing well from FunPlus Phoenix. You can see there's only a slight CS advantage in bottom lane, but they're controlling it. They're handling the 2v2. In top lane, a 5 CS advantage for a Fiora is still controlling the lane. It's happening again.
Another gank into the mid lane, the kick lands, the follow through, the smite as well, and SOFM is tenacious, finds that kill, but also dies to the hands of Pepper.
I wouldn't say that one was necessary. Gimgoon's also just killed Flandre in the top lane. I'm sure we'll get to see a replay of that. At the end of the day, SOFM traded his life with Cool, and that's still good for FunPlus Phoenix. He's already 0-2. What's 0-3 mean in the context of this game when Pepper gets farm and Cool gets gold?
That's fine. In terms of the goal totals, that would definitely even up the minion difference in the mid lane at least. Definitely not the kill and the 2 assists for Guoguo, but it's going to be helping out Cool and at least get his foot in the door. Meanwhile, in the top lane, you're absolutely right. Gimgoon found that 1 versus 1 kill onto Flandre. So it opens up an advantage, and obviously that means big things if the Fiora can continue to bully down the GP.
We get to see how this happened. They are both level 6, so it seems like Flandre just steps up, tries to hit a keg. Not a lot of counterplay available for Flandre in this instance, especially when all 4 vitals are procced.
Grand challenge, the block on the tower shot as well, and Gimgoon makes it look easy in the top lane.
Guoguo is dead. So welcome back. He has heal, he doesn't have flash. Pepper's mid lane.
You may be wondering how we got here.
Record scratch.
Replay.
Yeah, replay. Actually, give me a replay. Oh, there you go, FPX. They've actually fought back once again. They found themselves a kill in the mid lane where they shouldn't have had one. The top lane was a 1v1 duel, and it was already being handled. Pepper.
What are you doing? He's going
Right,
to kidnap the Lee Sin, but now he's just probably going to die and get smited out. Here comes Cool to try and defend his jungler, and SOFM, he wants this kill. Pepper, he's so incredibly low, but SOFM can't make it happen. He finds the kick onto Cool and disengages.
Oh, no. Oh, Pepper should be dead. That feels so upsetting for SOFM. He used the kick, he couldn't find it. The target wasn't there. He actually wanted to kick Cool through Pepper, maybe find him asleep in the bush there. Ultimately, nothing comes of it. Control of the jungle actually does. SOFM and Guoguo can move towards the blue buff. That's good. Gimgoon.
He's challenging Flandre once again, and Flandre is against the wall, but that's forcing him not to go to his tower. He just has SOFM to follow up. Good block out from Gimgoon. It won't get the resonating strike because of it. Well played.
There you go. He's going to be able to walk away. That could have been the enemy blue buff taken by Snake. Instead, they go towards top lane. They actually look to find themselves the kill under Gimgoon. Yes, it pushes Gimgoon back, but we get to watch what happened in mid lane. Pepper was only level 5, but he hits the Q, and that's all you really need to do. Just that simple. No counterplay there for Guoguo once the first part of the spells are connected. And not against the Zac LeBlanc.
The follow-up CC was there, and that will be a kill over to the Zac, actually. LeBlanc wasn't the beneficiary of the kill, unfortunately.
That's okay. It's okay. Don't reset his gold value.
Ah, that's true. Just
let him farm.
The old feed to win tactic. But Pepper, he's 2-0, so that's going to go a long way to helping him out in the jungle because he did not have a good early game. So we'll give him a nice little bit of gold influx, will allow him to get to his Cinderhawk very early into the game. Not as boots, however, but he's working towards that.
Did that minion hard Duke cool just then? I sympathize for that exact moment. The pressure's still here while we're looking at him. The fact that he's able to be 0-3 and still have presence against a Talia that has been doing very well. It's not ideal, let's put it that way. But SOFM's recognized that the way that Cool is playing is that even if I'm behind, I am not losing this lane. He's playing to win the lane. Right now, he set himself up for it. They also just placed a ward in vision. He wanted the combo. You were seeing it. He was seeing montages right
He
there.
absolutely was. Places down his own setup. It's like, I don't even need to go. Let's go. Doesn't connect the Q and we'll go back to his own jungle.
Hide in the bush for a second. Do you have a ward? No, I'll place it. He can't see me. It's fine.
I'll do everything myself. Yeah, SOFM constantly ganking this mid lane, just putting pressure down onto Cool, but you're right, he's pushing up, he's still able to challenge Guoguo and make sure that Guoguo can't just find free roams into top lane and bottom lane with his ultimate.
Like, to use that, to give context to the map as well, Zach's 2-0. So he's actually the one that got the kills, and from what was a really disastrous start of his early jungling, SOFM had him mapped out. He was donezo. There was no chance that Zach was getting back into the game to keep up with the likes of SOFM. Zach gets 2 kills. Suddenly, he's keeping up with SOFM. They're pretty close on items. The difference here is that Magical Footwear was selected by SOFM. That's the items. Mid lane, he's controlling. Maybe he's not going to be as fed as the likes of Guoguo, but the fact that Guoguo's not leaving lane, the fact that Cool's keeping him there, means that for the moment, it's just even. And ultimately, FPX have weathered the storm of a ridiculously good early game out of Snake through their jungle control.
Definitely has. Definitely have. And FPX, of course, we were talking about it in Champions League, but we'll rehash. You're looking for that. Probably a 1-3-1 setup. This is not necessarily a composition you expect to be grouping up as 5 and just going front to back into Snake right here. Yeah. Snake, maybe more of that team when you have a Caitlyn, a Tam Kench for the defense, and Flandre as well wanting to join up, but they'll have to respond to the 1-3-1, possibly from FPX.
And if they do have to respond, that's a Talia responding, so that's not ideal. Cool is still going forwards, and SOFM is still here.
There's the heal, trying to get in range, flash out from Cool, closing the distance, kick follows through, resonating strike for the kill.
It's pretty clean, they'll get themselves the kill. SOFM is now left by himself. There's also Fiora
behind enemy lines, but so is Guoguo. He's getting chased down by Gimgoon. Great block on that one. Hudir gobbles up the mid laner. May have found the save right here, and SOFM also gets the safety.
The positioning of Hudir's ultimate on that Tam Kench was just picturesque. The exact right place at the exact right time. Saves Guoguo at the last second. And just after that, there was a chance that they were going to get a trade kill. There's a chance that Guoguo goes down and Gimgoon gets out with his life just after Cool dies. Not to be seen, however, through the amazing work of the support of Snake.
And Cool has very much been a martyr this game. He is 0-4-2. All of the kills for Snake are on that mid laner.
Actually feels bad, though. To watch a Lee Sin flash just to kick you and have a Q combo. It was well done by SOFM for sure. But you're thinking to yourself, if you're Cool in this situation, is it really necessary? Like, do you have to do that? I'm already 0-3. I'm already behind. Leave me alone.
SOFM says, yes, it is necessary. Give me another kill.
Absolutely.
Give this one over to Guoguo in the top lane. Potential gank coming out from Pepper, though. Doesn't seem like he's looking for it.
Yeah, I think he's just hovering. He's trying to find the Lee Sin to counter gank at this stage. He's never gone mid lane for the counters really on time. It's more been reactive. There's the Light and Hudir starting off the Infernal.
Yeah, indeed, by themselves. Got SOFM coming down, but it will be matched by
it's been spotted.
LWX and Crisp coming in here, but the Dragon is already low. I don't think anything's going to happen unless a miracle steal comes out from LWX, which does not happen, and SOFM gets the smite, gets the kill. And it'll be the first Infernal of the game to Snake, followed up by another Infernal.
Wow, this game's definitely spicing up. They see the Infernal happen, but remember that Pepper wasn't there. He was in the top lane, he just recalled, and he was running back down. So they won't be able to secure the objective. They'll just have to watch it happen in front of their eyes. They can't really set up minion waves accordingly either. They were just stuck watching. And again, SOFM. It's upsetting.
He's stalking. Oh, he's found a Zac.
Oh, it's not the one I wanted.
I thought you were LeBlanc. I'm sorry. Get me out of here. Engage in the bottom lane. Quickness onto Light, and he's just put in place. Great save by Hudir, but they are still chasing right now. Featherstone not quite in range. And oh, that Ignite was almost enough to finish off Light in the belly of Hudir.
Almost goes down, but doesn't. Very well done in the engage from FPX, but there's just not enough damage to follow up. Tam Kench still exists to save his life, albeit barely, but the pressure's there. If the pressure's still there and it's still mounting, you're starting to see a CS lead grow. You're starting to see pressure onto that turret grow. Remember, the top lane is doing well from FPX. The bottom lane is doing well from FPX. Even though SOFM and Guoguo are putting on a clinic on how to tilt mid laners. We saw this in game number 1. We saw them camp cool. And we still saw FPX win the game.
And FPX find the first turret of the game as well. There's a small chance for Hoodia to catch up to LWX, but Chris is trying to get him out alive. Here comes the missile barrage in from top lane from Flandre. You feel like LWX will be dropping right here, but Chris has a small chance to maybe get the kill onto Light. Guoguo into the bottom lane and puts a stop to that one. 2 kills for Snake.
And this is the first time we have seen the Talia even be there in the first place, but Light and Hoodia, they just catch them out. They overextended themselves. They committed to the turret. They knew what they were in for. They took the risk and they paid the price for it. Now, they look towards top lane. They want to dive it.
Gimgoon has engaged. The Grand Challenge comes through and he's taken so much damage already. It's finishing up and Gimgoon gets the hill and simply walks away.
Cool doesn't really hit a thing, but it doesn't matter because Gimgoon's still very strong. He gets the Grand Challenge. They find themselves the target. First turret of the game still went down. So I would say whilst the death of the bottom lane of FPX isn't ideal, it's not the first turret of the game that they lose. It's just the second one that goes down. And meanwhile, they've traded cross map. This is a lot better from FPX, to be honest with you. We get to see what happens down the bottom lane. All of this time, FPX is getting destroyed. LWX, I should say, is getting destroyed by Hoodia, who's constantly attacking on the Tahm Kench. Light's job is just to survive. He does do it well.
Yeah, but it's going to be Vasifa able to survive in the bottom lane. Just saw a small look at the gold totals as well. Good old Kleptomancy Gangplank is actually ahead in terms of farm against the Fiora, despite being 0-2, has the 3 assists and all the extra gold from Kleptomancy, so he's gotten himself the Trinity Force.
The thing with that matchup pulse is it doesn't get better for the Gangplank.
No,
even if he's ahead in gold. You could be 2,000 gold ahead from having Kleptomancy in your passive. You're still going to lose the 1v1. That is a consistent. You want a group, you want to try and contribute to team fights with kegs, if you can. Because the longer you sit in the 1v1, the longer you just sit there and clear waves. You make one mistake, you overstep once, you are dead.
Comes Pepper, connects the stretching strike, but can't find a minion, so Light will waddle on out alongside Hoodia.
The natural reaction, of course. Here you see the SOFM in his natural habitat.
Mid lane. This time he's coming in from top side though, so he's spicing it up.
It's not the first time he's done it.
He's mostly been from the bottom side, but yeah, not the first time. He's come through lane as well. He's attacked from pretty much every angle, to be honest.
He loves himself some mid lane.
And Guoguo is just constantly putting the pressure down onto Cool. Here comes Hoodia and the bottom lane of Light. Starting to siege down this tower, as a Caitlyn will do. In comes FPX. Can they make something happen? Cool takes a bunch of damage in return, but for now, it is enough to send Snake packing.
Certainly is. Gimgoon also moved towards the bottom side of the map, was rotating to the blue buff, and I think that presence was enough to also play a part in it. Tries to steal it. The Ninja does not get away with it. And also at the exact same time, LWX and Crisp are rotating. Light has to go back towards top lane. So everything will dissipate completely. The next step that we're looking towards is who can actually break that mid lane turret. And if someone wants to use the Herald to do that, you'd be giving the advantage to Snake. Look at the vision they've got near it.
It's a lot. Definitely a lot of vision. And even more being placed down now by SOFM here. FPX are obviously rotating around the mid lane at the moment. Gimgoon has moved to the bottom lane, in fact, because Infernal Dragon is spawning around a minute from now. Here comes a Kidnap. Good flash away from Guoguo. SOFM to follow up, has connected the Q, follows through. Nice flash from LWX. Creates some distance, and Pepper is able to walk off.
LWX chose to flash instead of using his ultimate. Was very afraid of SOFM, it seems. Tracking him, perhaps following him down, but at the end of the day, I'm not too sure why he chose to use the flash when he could have just used the ultimate and dodged the second part of the resonating strike.
Taking stress over the wall, finds knock up onto Hoodia, and the chain CC out from Cool as well. Hoodia will hop up the grey health, and he's low, but survives.
But he is chunked, and the fact that he is low gives a lot of time and mobility to the side of FPX to do as they would please. We've got about 30-odd seconds until the Infernal Drake is live, and that's a place that you will be putting a lot of focus towards. It's the second of the game. So Snake, they definitely want that 16% AP and AD bonus. The side of FPX, they want to deny that at all costs. And if you can give 8% even to your Fiora, that's winning. If you can give some kind of power to your LeBlanc, that does wonders as well.
Exactly, but I do feel like we're going to find ourselves a spark of some action around this dragon that's about to be spawning in just a couple of seconds from now, though there are actually no wards from either team directly on top of it. So SOFM is pushing forwards, clearing away as many control wards as he can. He's got Guoguo in the bottom lane to react, mid lane as well to easily pivot. And LeBlanc is going to be the one to meet that Talia, able to swiftly get away.
Yeah. It's more that Talia is the one actually meeting the LeBlanc, which means it's a best case scenario type of lane setup for FPX here. Snake are the ones that need to chop and change, they need to shift and constantly reevaluate where their lanes need to be. If Infernal Drake is the priority, then being bottom lane is okay for the Talia, as long as he's not afraid of dying in any kind of 1v1s.
Oh, Chris getting caught out by the Flick there, but still gets back towards LPX. That dash towards him going to be enhanced, of course. SOFM moving towards the middle lane with his team. Gimgoon pressuring up the top lane, but he's about to run out of minions. Doesn't quite get the slowdown onto FLICKR, though he is still chasing. Issues the grand challenge, won't be able to proc the final one, but it might just be enough damage. Gimgoon flashes away, flashes back towards FLICKR, gets the 1v1 outplay, but in comes the rest of Snake to chase down this Fiora. They can't quite get in range, but it's going to be a lot of damage in from the tower. Follow up with the ultimate in from Light. They track him, they kill him.
Scarily enough, he wasn't too far away from getting out with his life, but look at how many people go up to deal with him. Caitlyn, Tom, Kench, Talia all there. FLICKR's already dead. What did we say? 1v1, if it ever happens between a Fiora and a Gangplank, Fiora wins. Just like that, they get an Infernal Drake, and they get a kill in the top lane. What's the trade actually going to be from Snake?
Yeah, to move back towards the middle lane, try and defend right now from the onslaught coming in from the bottom lane of FPX, getting some damage onto that outer mid lane tower. Light will respond with a tower in top lane, however, so that will put Snake ahead in terms of gold and towers in this game.
Certainly will. This is one of those moments where I feel like Cool perhaps could have moved towards the mid lane, threatened the Talia away from the turret, or just threatened to kill Hoodier once again and burst him out, but it's not going to happen. He's actually looking for the kill. Even he kills FLICKR now.
Everyone kills FLICKR in this game. It's not a great day to be Gangplank, let's be honest.
In a battle of the feeders, to know that Cool is winning that is very heartwarming for the side of FunPlus Phoenix.
It is. FLICKR is having equally as bad of a day, but he has managed to hit 2 items, so it's nice for himself. Picked up the Ghost Blade very recently for himself. We didn't see that, Gingoon. Don't even worry about it. Didn't even look like you moved, so we'll ignore the fact that your launch is on cooldown.
Wasn't that he lunged through anything, he just stuck his saber into a wall. Didn't work.
And we've truly been blessed in this game, Rusty. We have a third Infernal Dragon on the way. The teams will surely be butting heads over that one.
Papa bless.
Papa bless. Flash is pushing him very far in the bottom lane, but this means there has to be someone in the wings. Someone has to be protecting him. This time, it's Guoguo and it's SOFM.
Yes. Again, the innovations from Snake, the changes in their play style, not even necessarily just in their picks. It's proving here that whilst it's being respected from Gimgoon, it's a change. It's a positive change. It's actually bringing people down here. It's delaying the strategies of FPX. It's preventing them from having the win condition that they might want to have with their comp.
FPX being tracked right here. In comes the ultimate from FLICKR, expecting a chase out from Snake, but doesn't happen in the end, though. They have really chunked down the bottom lane of FPX. Yeah, Snake will probably be able to take down this tower because of that pressure.
They certainly should be able to. So again, they actually work around the map nicely. Snake still doing well. Pepper.
Oh, Pepper is very far in front of his team. Resonating Strike has connected. Or the Sonic Wave, rather. SOFM did not pull the trigger on that one, though. You saw it in his eyes. That was an execute ready to happen.
That was very disconnected from Pepper to the rest of his team. That tower was gone. There was no reason to go forwards. There's no reason to go in. He chooses to take it, has to use the ultimate to get out. And he is lucky to be alive, or at least even have his passive available. So kudos to him for surviving. Big mistake before the fact. At the same time, though, Snake, to come back to the point that I was going to make, are still making the correct plays. They are working around the Caitlyn. They have a siege composition. They've now been able to siege up structures. They've gotten all of the outer turrets around the map. It's from this point, they've got a gold lead. Can they actually translate this into further structures? Can it be neutral objectives? Is the Baron something that you now start to look towards at 23 minutes into the game with 2.5 items completed on a Caitlyn? It's all possible, but it's about can Snake actually do it?
And it's rough, you know, because if you're looking towards FLICKR and saying, well, you're going to have to hold either a LeBlanc or a Fiora, he's saying, well, I can't do either of those things. So Snake, you're going to have to pull the trigger on an objective or push towards a tower and relieve some pressure for me, because that side lane is not going to win by itself. So there is a chance here for FPX to close that goal total by simply just having this composition, being able to 1-3-1. Whoa, just stepping up to the plate.
LeBlanc is very good at getting rid of Banshee's Veils as well, which is nice to have when you're playing with a Zac that wants to long-range engage. But right now, with the distance between these lanes, with the fact that Baron is the primary point of focus alongside turrets, and the fact that Gangplank and Fiora are going to be assigned towards the bottom lane, this is a very good window of opportunity for FPX to play 1-4 as long as the LeBlanc can be relevant. It's not going to be 1-3-1. They can't really put Cool up into the top lane and be successful when there is an outer turret still available for Snake.
FPX are grouping up in the mid lane right here. Of course, Pepper keeping to the shadows, see if he can find himself an engage. Crisp is far forward, but the flick doesn't land. This middle tower is about to drop very soon. SOFM is found Pepper on the side. Then get out of my jungle.
Gives him the what for. It's not for a lot.
It's not for a lot, but just make himself known. And Snake for now has defended their middle lane, so LeBlanc will go back into the top lane. So maybe he can put some damage onto this outer turret. Still relatively healthy, however, and it's a little bit awkward because there is a dragon coming up in 1 minute. So there will need to be a rotation from Cool, or at least the teleport.
And notice, of course, whilst Cool is top lane, whilst he is trying to 1-3-1, pushing towards that turret is very risky. It's because it's a safe point for Gorgor to still be. So Cool pushes, he then has to back away, and if he doesn't, he risks dying. Gimgoon's also hovering inside the jungle of Snake because he's not safe. He doesn't feel safe, I should say. And he positions split pushing against that gangplank when everyone's missing, particularly SOFM. Instead, he's grouped up. They want to pressure and get this turret.
Counter ultimate in once again from FLICKR, keeping this tower alive, removing the minions, and LPX has taken a bunch of damage already. Chris needs to come in with the block right there, but now he's on the other side of the wall. Everyone dashes over apart from Cool. There we go. It turns like everyone on FPX has a dash of some kind, including Pepper, who jumps back towards his team. That's some serious chunk down onto FPX.
There was so much damage applied to the FPX roster that Snake could clear this mid wave. They could take the Infernal Drake for free. If they're feeling lucky, they could play more aggressively. They could look towards the Baron, but SOFM hasn't recalled, so that is very unlikely. They should just be able to nest themselves with a free dragon. They walk over for it. The second Infernal for Snake, the third of the game. I will say that FPX are responding though. They're running straight here. They're
sending 3 people towards the area, and Pepper, while he's a long way away, maybe the rest of FunPlus can create some distance. He can be coming from the bottom side, but they're getting chunked very quickly. SOFM with no smite just yet, and Chris dives into the backline. Xayah with the secure on the Infernal Dragon, and that's the second Infernal to FPX.
They're able to walk in time, and they are able to take it away. SOFM was low from the fight that happened. He was the only member of Snake that really were. They're still going.
Pepper, he's still going in right now because he's found SOFM, and Cool will find the kill. Hoodia low. Gimgoon trying to get in range of FLICKR, needs to play goalkeeper.
They'll get the kill, they'll get the pick off to SOFM. Cool is playing aggressively, he's playing forwards, but he's only posturing there because the rest of his team are going.
Pepper again looking for this invader. He's taken out mid-air but goes into his passive. Chris looks for the knockup, but LPX finds himself in a trap, and Light will shoot him down, but he goes too far forwards. Cool in with the assassinate, but now in comes Gimgoon as well with the flank himself. Chris trying to provide fire support, but this is essentially a 1 versus 3, and Gimgoon realizes it. He has to back away. Nice knockup in from Chris, and everyone takes the blast cone to safety. The chase continues on top of the Fiora, but Gimgoon is good to go.
Yeah, FLICKR steps up, Gimgoon turns around and delivers some damage, and everyone has to back away. That is a lot of blinking health bars. This is a very tense game, super back and forth, and you don't want to be that guy, but the difference between these fights could actually be the Infernal Dragon damage when you put it in perspective. The fact that they're able to net these kills at all. Auto attacks from Cool being the difference between life or death. And they are actually fighting into this game very well. The difference in gold is not significant enough to say that Snake will win this. Baron is the deciding factor right now.
We get to see that engage once again. It was fairly prolonged. So good luck with this one, Rusty.
Pepper just used his ultimate a little bit late, unfortunately, because he wanted to knock them together and didn't respect his own health bar. Lots of traps stepped on by LWX, unfortunately, and some nice crits from Light playing the RNG game. Gimgoon, of course, a very big deal. And Cool navigating the team fight very well was enough to make sure that no one just outright dies in the fight. We don't get to watch the prolonged part of it, Paul, so I'm okay.
There we go. Saved. But, for now, we just get to see how strong that Fiora is. Actually going towards the Giant's Belt right here because we've picked up the 2 core damage items, which are Trinity Force and Hydra. So we'll be remaining probably in that side lane. Though I say that because Pepper is engaging right. He's looking for the abduction. He's found both of them. The knockup, the damage. FPX have found SOFM. They're looking to chase down Hoodia as well. LWX will flash forward. So will Gimgoon. Finds the kill.
Communication may not be there, but the kill is secured regardless. They're under the Baron. It was accidentally aggroed, and Cool now loses most of his health. But now it was actually aggroed this time. FPX, they're looking forwards. They're playing aggressively for this. I don't know if they want to do the Baron more than they want to take the fight.
Oh, FLICKR with the ultimate. Light is around the corner. Can he find the steal? No, he cannot. Secured by Xayah. FLICKR sends Cool away with a parlay, but now he's a little bit overextended. FPX want to fight this. A lot of low health bars. I feel like best case scenario, they just all back away. But look at this. Okay, he's cancelled the teleport.
The teleport was definitely a deterring factor from Snake, wanting to make sure they were pushed away. And if it came to it, then he would have been able to complete that one on top of a Caitlyn trap and die. But he didn't actually complete it. FPX will secure the Baron. They even get themselves a top lane outer turret for good measure on the way out. Well done from Pepper to have the foresight to go there. And suddenly, we said the Baron may well be the difference, Pulse. Now you've seen a team secure it after they get a kill, after Pepper catches SOFM. How the tables have turned.
It's happening. It's actually happening. FPX currently with the 1-up against Snake, and it seems like it's just a week of upsets, Rusty. Something's in the water. I don't know what it is. We've seen LGD take out RNG. We saw the other day Jingdong take down RNG. We saw Suning with their own upset against Rogue Warriors. Just doesn't seem to end.
From this point with the Baron, for the upset to actually be secured, how do they end the game, right? With the 1-3-1 that they've got potentially in their team composition, Baron buff is an enabler for exactly that. But LeBlanc isn't just someone that needs to split push. The teleport isn't actually available because he just cancelled that one. One of the other major strengths that LeBlanc has is the ability to threaten when sieging turrets. When actually diving structures, she can be behind you, bursting out your carries from positions that you don't have vision or you don't expect to see them. One of the strengths that LeBlanc has as a result of that is that she's very good in these siege scenarios where LWX and they're just back well, just taking it straight away.
Light died from that. He died in the stomach of Hoodir right there, and that's Snake without an AD carry right now. FPX are still pushing into their space. They're taking down the inhibitor tower, and onto the inhibitor itself. That's already gone. And now they're rotating that pressure into mid lane. This is a 4 versus 5 if Snake wanted. They cannot step up because if they die here, that's game.
I can't believe Light just died. I mean, it did say exactly what I said LeBlanc can do. It happened in front of our eyes, and I still don't believe it. He was inside the target. They're going again.
The re-engage out from Pepper. Doesn't find a catch, however, and Gimgu dashing towards Flandre. It's just going to be a luck tap as FPX will escape with 2 inhibitors in hand.
Take the 2 inhibs back away, reset for sure. You've got a lot of money that you'll be able to spend for yourselves, and you've got a top lane wave that needs to be dealt with before you continue to push for the rest of the game. FPX, Baron secured, 2 inhibs down, 4k gold in the lead. Cool is now able to one-hit Light even inside the stomach of a Tahm Kench. They are set to succeed.
They absolutely are, and you hate to see it. Light subbing in over Crystal, looking for those superior mechanics, but has been called out a couple times. Maybe you're saying into this game, maybe we actually wanted Crystal. Maybe we would have better positioning, better foresight, and knowing what was going to happen, that the LeBlanc can perhaps assassinate me. But we're in a situation we have to play it through. I
will admit that after the first game, I had my speculations that perhaps Crystal would come into play. I don't think that Light showed the best performances, and unfortunately, look at the difference between these AD carries. It is over 100 CS right now between them. 106 CS is the difference. Light has not had a very good showing. It could be nerves, could be stage fright. Snake, they are secured in playoffs. They definitely could be testing things with their AD, but I thought 0-1 down when fighting for first place, not the best time to keep him there.
They're fighting for a semi-final bye here, Snake, so this win does mean a lot to them. SOFM just in this base right now, trying to play defense with Snake, but they only have 1 remaining inhibitor tower, 1 remaining inhibitor as the last bastion of hope. They have set up a defensive line, however, with this Caitlyn. But FPX, you're right, they are set up to succeed. They have multiple super minions about to crash into the base. In fact, Gimgun is escorting them right now. LWX separated from his team, but it's all stalling tactics. It's not anything tangible. It's not something that will buy more time, more minutes that Snake need. It's just a couple seconds.
Snake's team composition is very good at dealing with sieges, however. They've got the Caitlyn Talia. They've even got a gangplank as well, so clearing waves is a major strength of their composition. And that's where I think the Baron importance comes back into play again. It was a successful first Baron from FPX, but they've got some time to buy, and if they're lucky, they will be able to break through the trap line, break through the Talia wave clear, somehow get through the gangplank kegs, and then they will get another turret, another inhib. They can flood the base with the double super minion waves, but that's super unlikely. You're looking at the next Baron as to the real way that FPX wins. So Snake, they've got time.
They do. They've managed to stall that out in the end. It was looking grim, but you're right, they have managed to stall this one, and FPX is going to come down to another major objective, most likely the Baron, maybe even the Elder, but Next Dragon has also spawned as well. If FPX want to back off, relieve some pressure, they can also just pick themselves up essentially a free Mountain Dragon here for themselves.
Certainly could. They're not choosing to. Right now, Snake have decided they're going to pick off Crisp and LWX. That's the target. Mission impossible, though, to try and find them. Then again, it is LWX.
It's tough. Nice dodge from Chris. That was the flick and really the go button for Snake if that had landed. So Snake, they have to back away from this one. They have to deal with these super minions. And at this stage in the game, in Gangplank, someone with crit is going to have to deal with them. In comes Cool, looking for the assassinate once again, saved by Hudia. He was a split second too late. That would have been a kill onto Light, but it's opening up distance and room for LWX to put the damage onto the tower. Yeah,
they've actually chunked out that top lane turret. It is a stone's throw away from falling, and it's already gone. The Nexus turrets have already been chunked out by Gimgoon, as you mentioned, and suddenly FPX don't even need the Baron. They feel confident enough to push in like this. Against the composition that excels against them, they still navigate it well. The Fiora presence, Fiora pressure is just so large.
The strangulation is something that you don't typically see from middle of the pack teams. You like to see it out from the Invictus Gamings, even like Rogue Warriors, where they take these advantages, they don't let up, and it seems like everything just goes well once they get ahead. And FPX, they're replicating that play right here. Triple inhibs down, moving now towards the Dragon. Baron up in 50 seconds. They could very easily just find the perfect time right here to pick up all objectives on map.
With their playoff lives on the line, FPX no longer look like a middle-of-the-pack team with the way that they're navigating this game. Being able to dismantle Snake in the way that they are is very impressive from them. Yes, they can recall now. They've timed this well. They've broken the third inhib. Double super minion waves start to crash in. At the same time, with 20 seconds until a Baron to be secured, what is the counterplay from Snake now, right? Do they send someone over to deal with it? I would imagine it's just a lone SOFM that they try and send over. Perhaps snipe it away himself, but even then, you're not sure they can.
FPX is setting up a defensive line around the Baron, placing down Vision. And Snake, to be honest, this is probably one of the last chances, the last chance saloon for them to come back into this game, but they decide not to contest. This one will go over to FunPlus Phoenix, and they will hold the line in their base.
180 health on the Smite. The Gangplank ultimate was scarily close, almost unnecessarily so, but that is the price you pay when you're with a Xayah who does a ridiculous amount of damage. So you make that work, you get the Baron. Inhibs are alive. That's the last stand, honestly, for Snake. If they lose these inhibs, the minions will be too powerful. They will start to overwhelm the base, and as they flood in, that's where the danger lies. But that could be some time from now, and that was a good start.
Definitely, the Fiora has caught up to the team, teleported into the jungle, the closest ward that she could find. Light gets chunked down to half from just one auto tag out from LWX. He's feeling fairly safe, though he just take a barrel to the face. But we'll have some regen in there as well. So just waiting to corral these minions into the base. There's a teleport into bottom lane, in fact, out from Cool. He's just trying to knock down these inhibitors once again.
Yeah, Cool being chunked out means he has to teleport, so they do get a summoner spell out of the side of FPX. Well done from Quokko on Snake, but he also has no mana. So he's going to have to go back to base, and that means the inhib will drop very easily. It may mean that two just go like that. And then this is that opportunity for FPX to continue that calm, methodical, patient play. Maybe they get a pick. Maybe they force something. But if they don't, that was not...
Wow. Actually base it. SUFM just used his ultimate on the LeBlanc clone. Doesn't have that for the carries now. Here comes the ultimate out from Flandre, but FPX, they can just wait. Oh, just kidding. We've got Pepper on the team, so I'll just steal everyone into the team and kill all of them at the same time. Xayah, the meat grinder, finds 3 kills, and FPX, they've done it. They sweep Snake, they get a quadra for the Xayah, and they keep their playoff dreams alive.
With their fate in their own hands, at least in this set, FPX get it done, and Snake still trying to fight for that first place position, get absolutely dismantled by their respective opponents. The quadra kill for LWX, basically one-hitting everybody. FPX just looked clean. They just played Snake for the full, including that LeBlanc clone.
Well, it turns out that FPX are indeed the kryptonite to Snake's Esports, because they found the first win in their own conference at the start of the split, found the second one today. They definitively own the head-to-head.
They are the anti-venom.
They absolutely are. They emerge from the Snake pit unscathed once again. And FPX, maybe it can happen. Maybe. They go for this battle right here, but if you think about who they've got to go against now, they have Edward Gaming ahead of them, and then Vici. You would look towards Vici Game and say they can absolutely take it. FPX was a little off-center, but I'll forgive you. That was a great game. Edward Gaming, however, going to be a different beast entirely.
Certainly is, but they have to win both to make sure they can secure their place in the playoffs. But for now, they should celebrate the fact that they won 2-0 here today. Celebrate the fact that on the day they were the better team, and by a significant margin through the rest of the map. Gimgoon had a good set. The bottom lane had an outstanding set. LWX and Crisp looked fantastic. Unfortunately for Snake, Light's just not doing it for me, and unfortunately he wasn't doing it for Snake either. There's a big problem down there, a glaring problem, where Crystal may actually have to come back. Flandre also not playing his best.
It's not the instant upgrade that we kind of wanted to see here from Snake over Crystal, and we've seen some fantastic upgrades in the last couple of weeks with BLG introducing Chieftain and Mo into their lineup, look completely rejuvenated from an already good team. So Snake not finding the same success here, and FPX will get the 2-0 win in 37 minutes.
You speak towards the strength of Snake, it was still their mid lane and their jungle duo. They looked great in their own rights. I think the invades, the focus in mid lane, a lot of it was good. They gave themselves big leads. They generated a good start to the game. But at the same time, on the opposite side, Cool has this resilience in him of being such an experienced player. He knows what it means to be camped. He knows what it means to suffer for 30 minutes if necessary for the team to get the victory. And he was able to at least die gracefully a few times in there and still come back and be relevant. He wasn't tilted. He was still there.
He was the best punching bag I've ever seen in League of Legends. And SOFM, you're right, he was strong in the early game. We've come to expect that from SOFM and his early pathing. Seems to be very few junglers who can live up to the task, but there was the recovery. You know, Cool, yes, he definitely went to bite it in the laning phase, and at the same time, Pepper did not have his own best time in the jungle, having all of his jungle taken away on the top side, but it was a recovery. The 2 kills into mid lane happened. Pepper basically did the only thing that he could do and look for those ganks. It works out. FPX find their way back into the game, and were able to equalize. And that was the biggest thing for me, the fact that Snake weren't able to snowball the advantage they had in the early game.
Yeah, the time that they tried to snowball, and I do think of that mid lane gank where SOFM traded his life in mid, I think that was the moment where FPX still saw the opening. They traded kills. Yeah. They're not just being snowballed on anymore, they're able to trade. And suddenly the rest of the map's still winning, mid lane jungle trading, best case scenario.
Managed to pick them apart and take the win 2-0. Congratulations to FunPlus Phoenix. For now though, we'll send it back to the analyst desk.
Thank you so much, my dudes. And FPX, again, they prove they have got the anti-venom to beat out whatever poison Snake is throwing at them.
This time around, we can definitively say that they played better, though.
Yes.
This last time, it was like, you know what, Snake, they're still the better team. They were just taking advantage of the fact that they were not in the right mental state in that day. Today was legitimately just swift victory in the game 1, and game 2, better composition as well.
It's funny you actually mentioned Swift. The game times were only 25 seconds apart between the two of them, 37:30 and 37:55 for that game too. But like you said, it was FPX just seemingly in this game 2 running rampant. That still though, we saw Snake with an early game composition, early game play. SOFM on this Lee Sin was all over the place.
Yes, SOFM's Lee Sin. Remember, this was a last pick for them. So this was them saying, we're going to go back to it the last time we played it. It had incredible strength in the early portions of the game, has great snowballing potential, and he snowballed it. Look at LeBlanc. LeBlanc was literally 0-3, 0-4 about 10 minutes into the game. So mid lane was handily in favor of Snake. The only problem was, or at least, yeah, only problem was, of course, top lane getting beat up. And so this is when I look towards the Lee Sin pick, especially since they're starting to trade sides. Gold is starting to get evened out because Gimgoon's getting far ahead in his Fiora pick. Bottom lane's getting advantages on the side of FPX, and say, what is their point of engage? It's going to be the Lee Sin.
Got to be the kick. Of course, we did see a couple attempted kicks in the late game, but
that's the problem, because even though Zach fell behind early, Zach mentioned it, Rusty mentioned it, 2 kills on the Zach, he gets back into the game. Now, FunPlus, they have an amazing amount of engage. They can look towards Rakan, they can look towards the Zach to start their fights. It's going to only be on the Lee Sin unless Talia can get proper utility on her Weaver's Wall. But Snake starts to falter. They start to fall behind. Itemizing getting really weird too, because we saw a double Locket of the Iron Talari. I can understand it if Tom Kench builds it for himself, not if Lee Sin builds it for himself. When the only form of AP on the enemy team is a LeBlanc that it's incredibly far behind. That was questionable, because he was getting blown up immediately in these fights. So if Lee Sin is going to be their only point of engage, he needs to get himself a Randuin's Omen to deal with the crit coming in on the bottom side of the map, just so he can find that kick. It may be a sacrifice for himself, but if it works for him, especially with the early lead that they had, that's a winning point for them.
Of course, we do have to commend Cool for his performance in Game 1 and Game 2, getting ganked multiple times in both matches and still being incredibly relevant during the late game. I mean, there's a reason he's a legacy player in the LPL, and that he's been around for so long.
Game 1, yes. Game 2, he got solo killed.
Okay, well, there was that one play.
And then he came back into lane and he continually played aggressively. And
Yeah.
the thing about LeBlanc is you find yourself in a deficit. The way you trade, your trading pattern, you use your only dash for an escape to get in there, of course.
Yeah.
And so Lee Sin just ganked mid lane. And you kind of criticize both Cool and Pepper for essentially not working together, having the Zac there for a lot of the times, but they did get messed up a lot. I thought Guoguo played incredibly well. It didn't matter for the result of the game because Snake ended up taking out or at least losing out in team fights.
I think it all started snowballing for FPX at that dragon that you mentioned a little bit, where Gimgoon started to show, hey, I'm on Fiora, I'm on a carry. Maybe we'll trade a little bit, but Infernal Dragon is the bigger win.
Yes, hell yeah. The fact that FPX could say that it was on the top side of the map that Fiora was starting to pick up pace, of course, diving, Flandre, that's the thing, is that suddenly Snake, their feet under a fire where they have to look towards Flandre and try and help him out because Gimgoon's diving him under 2 towers. Look at how many people come towards the top lane to save him. Of course, he's already dead. They're like, we're going to get something for this, for our troubles being the top side. Sure, they get Gimgoon, but they lose the Infernal Dragon, and then they have to contest for the next Infernal Dragon. And being in that position, knowing that you're not a proper team fighting composition and now having to focus on the next fight, it makes it easier for FunPlus to just linearize it to the next team fight.
Yeah, and I think that's something that is really helpful for FPX in that they have multiple points of pressure at this point. We always know Gimgoon has been a strong top laner, but now Cool in the mid lane is providing so much direction for the team, at least with his shot calling. He seems to be talking non-stop. As a result, though, Pepper is actually going to take our MVP for that game to win, able to just get into the backline so many times and seemingly disrespect SOFM's Lee Sin. I can't count the number of times that he went in and just got away when he shouldn't have.
Yeah, there was definitely one moment in the mid lane that he jumped in when Snake had the outer turret taken, and he almost killed himself. That was a poor point. But that being said, Pepper found incredible points of engage after that point. There was one great one near the Baron area where he was able to jump on, get Lee Sin and another target as well, and get proper team fight. So he set them up really well. People forget about the fact that he was 2 levels behind early just because of how pivotal, how crucial he was in the later game team fights. And
it's those team fights that end up deciding the game when it gets to 37 minutes in. Though, as a result, FPX 2-0 over that series win, moved to 8-9. Now, they haven't clinched their playoff spot just yet, but they're getting darn close as they are competing with WE, who still have 3 games to go. FPX at 8-9 with only 2 games left. That being said, strength of schedule is something that we absolutely have to talk about. WE are playing 2 effectively bad teams in OMG and Vici and 1 good team in Snake, whereas FPX, they're playing 2 good teams in EDG and Snake and 1 bad team in Vici.
Exactly. So it's honestly on WE to lose their sets. They have to completely drop the ball, and it's happened before if you look towards the teams losing to LGD in the Eastern Conference. So you really can't sleep on that factor, but you just have to keep your eyes onto Week 10 when all of this comes out. Yeah,
when we get the final resolution for all of these games. Of course, we do still have another match lined up in about 30 minutes. That's going to be Jingdong versus Suning, the e-commerce wars. That's going to be the fight for the final playoff spot. Jingdong aren't out just yet, but they might be after this set as they look towards that. Raz, you got any thoughts on that one?
Oh, we're about to get to it, but I'm telling you right now, this is the most important set to watch if you're interested in the Eastern Conference. Jingdong, they fell to LGD, but they cannot fall now. If they do so, then they're out.
We'll have to see if they can do that, though. Of course, that's going to be starting in just about 30 minutes. Don't go anywhere, though. The LPL is going to be right back.